we're going to talk about reflections today. And a reflection, notice I'll always capitalize that FL, because a reflection is a flip. And a reflection can be reflected or flipped over the x-axis or the y-axis, or really any other line on the plane. A reflection should look like a mirror image. A figure has a line of symmetry if it can be divided in two parts and it's a reflection over that line of symmetry. And a figure can have more than one line of symmetry. So we're going to decide if these are reflections or not. So let's look at A. So did this flip over that line? And yes, it is. And if this were on the coordinate plane, it would be reflecting over the x-axis. And one way to check is to look at the points right here. And so like these points right there are the same distance over that line. So that shows that it's a reflection. And then this point right here is the same distance over that line. So that's a way to double check that yes, it is a reflection. And then right here, we want to know if this flipped over. And no, this is not, because it is not equidistant. So if I take the point of that and the point of that, this was not just flipped over. It's just been slid. So this is a translation. It was slid, it was slide. All right. So now I want you to do 1, 2, and 3 on your own real quick. And then after you've done that, so go ahead and press pause and do that, and then come back. So right here, because those points are not equidistant, you know that that's not a reflection, but it is a translation. It was just slid up. So this point is really close to that line, whereas this same point is very far, okay? Okay, and this one, no, it is not. This again has just been slid over. And again, this line right here would be kind of right there instead. So no, this is also not. It is a translation. Now this trapezoid is a reflection. Okay, so this is equidistance. These two lines are equidistant to this. So it's almost like this is the line of symmetry and we reflected over it. So now let's talk about the x and the y-axis, okay? Now we know the y-axis goes up and down, right? So when we're when we reflect over the x-axis, we're actually traveling left to right. And so really what happens is our x-coordinate is the one that changes when we reflect over the y, okay? So it becomes positive or negative or opposite of what it is. When we travel over the x-axis, so this is the x-axis, okay? And I kind of like this arrow. So we would travel left and right. We would actually travel up and down. So if I'm here and I travel up, I'm moving along that y-axis. So when I flip over the x-axis, my y is the one that changes. It becomes the opposite of what it is. So if it's positive, it becomes negative. If it's negative, it becomes positive. Okay. So now we're going to practice some reflections. Let's go ahead and draw this original image, all right? So A, we're going to run 1 and jump -1. For B, we're going to run 3, jump 2. And for C, let's run 4 and jump 1, 2, 3, -3. Okay. And right here it says we're going to reflect over the y-axis. So I'm going to ask that you actually highlight this axis. And we want to travel over this. So we're going to be over here. Okay? And if we reflect, we're going to be the same distance. So A on the opposite side is going to be the same distance, A prime. So since from here we travel 1, we're going to go 1 in this direction. And that is our new A prime. Okay, and B, I'm going to go over this way, the same direction that the B is. So 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 in the opposite direction, and that is where B prime lives. And then C, I'm going to go right here to this line, and this is exactly where it's going to reflect over, but in this direction. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is where our C prime will lie. So there should be a line there. There we go. Now I don't have to draw these lines. It was more of a, I'm showing you if we go this way, we're going to go that way. If we counted 4 this way, then I'll go 4 this way. That's 1 this way, 1 that way. 3 to the right, 3 to the left. Okay, and there's my new shape. Make sure you have your primes. Okay, now let's write those new ordered pairs. So for A, we run -1, -1. -1, -1. For B, we run -3 and +2. -3, +2. And for C, -4, -3. -4, -3. Now remember we said that when we travel over the y-axis, our x is going to be changing, right? So let's look at our x's. We went from 1 to -1, 3 to -3, and 4 to -3. So they all became opposite. Yes, negative, but the opposite of positive is negative, right? -1, 2, and -3, our y's didn't change at all, okay? Because along the y, no matter what, we're jumping 3. It's the way we run becomes negative. Okay, so let's come down here. Okay, and let's draw that original shape. So -1, 1, 2, 3, D. Okay, let's run 2, jump 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. E, and let's go 4 and 1 for F. Okay, so now we want to reflect over the x-axis. So we're going to highlight this x-axis, and we want to travel over that. Okay, so we want the shape to be down here now. So again, we want to be equidistant from this line on both sides. So from this line, I go 1, 2, 3 up for D. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 down for D prime. And I'm going to find this point right there. So from this line of symmetry, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 up for E. So I'm going to go 4 down for E prime. And then from this line, I'm going to go 1 up for F. So I'm going to go 1 down for F prime. And we'll connect those. And that's a reflection over the x-axis. Now let's look at our coordinates. So for F, we could actually predict. So if we're reflecting over the x-axis, which one of our coordinates are going to change? The y. So the y should be, we can kind of predict. If that's a +3, then we know it's going to be -3. If that's a +4, it's going to be -4. And if that's a net +1, it's going to be -1. And my y should stay the same. And we'll see if that's true. Let's see, D. So is that -1, -3? Yep. E, run 2, jump -4? Yep. And F, run 4, jump -1. There you go. They're all correct. So because we flicked over the y, x, our y's changed.